I bought the dress 2 weeks before the wedding and told myself it was just a dress. That's what I called it every time my stomach tightened in that guilty way. Like my body knew the truth before my brain would admit it. It wasn't just a dress. It was a statement, a challenge, a performance. And I chose red. Deep, dramatic, impossible to ignore. Because some part of me wanted the room to react the way it used to react when my ex looked at me like I was the only woman alive. I kept telling myself I was going to that wedding for closure. But closure doesn't come with a corset bodice and a skirt that needs its own zip code. Closure doesn't come with a plan. And I had a plan. I just didn't expect my boyfriend to be the one who finally called me out. By leaving me there, in heels, while everyone else watched me implode. This whole thing started with an invitation. A real invitation. Cream cardstock. Elegant font. A gold wax seal. Dylan and Harper. Dylan. My ex. I hadn't spoken to Dylan in almost a year, not directly. We were one of those couples that ended in a mess. Too much pride, too much intensity, too many, this isn't working conversations that never actually ended anything until one day they did. I was the one who left. I said I wanted peace. I said I wanted stability. I said I was done with chaos. And I meant it. At the time. Then I met Ryan. Ryan is the kind of man people describe as a good one, and mean it as a compliment. Steady job, calm tone, doesn't play mind games, doesn't weaponize silence. He's the guy who brings you water without asking and checks your tire pressure when it drops. He's also the guy I started taking for granted the moment he started loving me reliably. So when that wedding invitation came, I should have thrown it away. Instead, I stared at it for 10 minutes straight like it was a test. And I failed it quietly. I told Ryan about it that night, trying to sound casual. Dylan invited me to his wedding, I said, leaning on the counter like this was normal. Ryan looked up from his phone. Your ex Dylan? Yeah, I said. Isn't that weird? Ryan's expression tightened for a second. Very. I waited for jealousy, for territorial energy, for him to say, absolutely not. Instead, Ryan asked the calmest question in the world. Do you want to go? That question was a mirror, and I didn't like what I saw in it. Because the truth was yes. Not because I wanted Dylan back. Because I wanted to see how it looked. I wanted to see his face when he saw me. I wanted to confirm I still had power somewhere in that story. So elite. I think it could be healthy, I said. Like closure. Ryan watched me carefully. Closure usually doesn't happen in public. I'll just show up, be polite and leave, I promised. It's not a big deal. Ryan nodded slowly. Okay. That okay felt like permission. And because I'm apparently incapable of stopping when I get permission, I escalated. I RSVP'd yes. Then a week later, I ordered the dress. It arrived in a garment bag like a weapon. Off the shoulder, fitted bodice, a sweetheart neckline that showed just enough to turn heads, and a skirt that flowed like I was walking into a movie scene. When I tried it on, I looked expensive. Dangerous. Untouchable. And I loved it. That's the sick part. I loved it more than I loved being normal. Ryan saw it hanging in the closet and frowned. Is that what you're wearing? He asked. I smiled like it was cute. It's a wedding. Ryan's eyes moved over the fabric. It's a statement. It's just red, I said. Ryan was quiet for a moment. You said you were going for closure. I am. I snapped a little too fast. Why are you acting like I'm doing something wrong? Ryan didn't argue. He just said, I'm not acting. I'm noticing. That sentence should have stopped me. Instead, it triggered me, because being noticed is uncomfortable when you're doing something you can't defend cleanly. So I did what I always do when I want to keep control. I reframed him as the problem. You're being insecure, I said. Ryan's face didn't change much, but his eyes did. I'm being honest, he replied. This feels like a performance. It's not, I said. It's closure. Ryan nodded once. Okay. But this okay felt different. It felt like he was filing something away. The day of the wedding came, bright and crisp. One of those perfect fall days that make people believe in romance. Ryan offered to drive. I said no, I wanted to arrive together, but separately, which makes no sense unless you're trying to manage optics. We got to the venue. An upscale winery with white tents and string lights, the kind of place that smells like flowers and money. The second I stepped out of the car, I felt it. Eyes. The red dress did exactly what it was designed to do. Heads turned. People stared. A few women whispered. One older aunt type actually paused mid-conversation and watched me like I'd walked in with a live animal. Ryan's hand hovered near my back like he wanted to guide me, then dropped. He looked uncomfortable, not jealous. Uncomfortable. You look, he started. Good. I finished smiling. I know. Ryan didn't smile back. We walked into the reception area where guests were milling around with champagne before the ceremony. And there, near the bar, was Dylan. He looked good. Better than I wanted him to look. Tailored suit, clean haircut, calm confidence. He was laughing with the groomsmen, relaxed like the happiest day of his life was exactly what he deserved. Then he saw me. His expression flickered. Just a small pause, like his brain did a quick, "What is she doing here?" Then he recovered into a polite smile. Not longing. Not shock. Polite. And for some reason, that hurt more than anger would have. He walked over with a measured calm like he was greeting a coworker. Hey, he said. You made it. I did, I said, smiling too hard. Congrats. Thank you, Dylan replied, and his eyes flicked to Ryan. And you are? Ryan extended his hand. Ryan. Dylan shook it, then looked back at me. Glad you're here. Make yourself comfortable. It was so normal. No tensión. No spark. No drama. Just an ex being courteous. The room didn't tilt. The universe didn't gasp. I felt something in me scramble for a new strategy. So I leaned into the only power I still had, the spectacle. I laughed a little louder. I moved through the crowd like I owned the place. I let people look. I let the dress do its job. And then I saw her. Harper. The bride. She was stunning in the kind of way that doesn't need effort. Simple satin gown, clean makeup, glowing skin, calm eyes. She looked secure. Like she didn't wake up thinking about competition. She walked past with her bridesmaids, laughing, and then she noticed me. Her eyes flicked to my dress and then to my face. No anger. Just curiosity. Then. This is what killed me. She smiled. A calm, soft smile like she was watching something predictable unfold. She walked over. Hi, she said warmly. You must be Dylan's ex. Ryan's body stiffened beside me. I felt my face heat. Yes. Harper extended her hand. I'm Harper. Thanks for coming. I shook her hand, forced my smile. Of course. Congratulations. Harper's gaze dropped to my dress, then back up. Still calm. Still warm. It's a gorgeous gown, she said. Very bold. The word bold landed like a polite slap. Like tasteful with a knife hidden in it. I laughed too brightly. Thank you. I love red. Harper nodded. It's memorable. Then she leaned slightly closer and said, so softly only I could hear. Try to enjoy the day. It's not yours anymore. Then she stepped back, smiled at Ryan politely, and walked away like she'd just offered me advice about wine. My stomach dropped. Ryan stared at me. What did she say? Nothing, I snapped. Ryan's jaw tightened. It didn't look like nothing. I waved it off. You're reading into it. Ryan's voice stayed calm. No. I'm watching you. That sentence made my chest tighten. Because suddenly, I wasn't being observed by Dylan. I was being observed by the person who actually knew me. The ceremony started. I sat in the second row. Second row. Not because there were assigned seats. Because I chose it. Ryan stopped in the aisle and looked at me like I'd lost my mind. You're sitting there, he whispered. It's fine, I hissed back. There's space. Ryan sat down next to me, stiff, and I could feel the tension rolling off him. Then Harper walked down the aisle. Everyone stood. She looked radiant. Dylan's face softened with genuine emotion. The kind that used to be mine to receive and now belonged to someone else. And I felt shamefully jealous. Not because I wanted Dylan. Because I wanted to be the kind of woman who inspired that kind of peace. Instead, I was sitting there and read like a warning sign. When the officiant said, "Does anyone object?" my heart did something stupid. Like it expected a movie twist. Nothing happened. They kissed. Everyone cheered. I clapped too, smiling too hard. Ryan didn't clap. He watched me like he was finally understanding something he'd been ignoring. At cocktail hour, the photographer started doing group photos. Families. Friends. Couples. And then Dylan's groomsman. Ryan's old college acquaintance apparently. Walked over. "Ryan," he said smiling. "Didn't know you'd be here." Ryan nodded politely. "Yeah." The guy glanced at me and then at Ryan, eyebrows lifting. "So you're with her?" Ryan hesitated. "Yes." The guy laughed awkwardly. "Wild." "Dude," Dylan was freaking out when he saw her dress. My stomach tightened. "Freaking out?" I asked too quickly. The groomsman smirked. Not like jealous. Like confused. Harper thought it was hilarious. I felt my face burn. Because the entire performance I staged was landing as comedy. Not drama. Not threat. Comedy. Ryan's eyes stayed on the groomsman. "What did Harper say?" The guy shrugged. "She said, let her wear red. It's giving last season." Then he wandered off laughing like he hadn't just ripped my dignity open. Ryan stared at me. I snapped first, because I could feel the truth coming. "This is stupid," I hissed. "They're being rude." Ryan's voice stayed calm. "You walked into someone's wedding dressed like the main character." "I'm allowed to look good," I snapped. Ryan nodded slowly. "Of course you're allowed to look good." "That's not the point." "Then what is?" I demanded. Ryan held my gaze. "You didn't come for closure. You came to be seen." I laughed sharply. "So what? Is that a crime?" Ryan's jaw tightened. "In a relationship? When you're using my presence as a prop?" "Yeah. It's a problem." I felt panic surge. "You're ruining this." Ryan's eyes were steady. "No. You ruined it when you bought that dress." I scoffed. "You're being dramatic." Ryan nodded slowly. "You always say that when you're wrong." That sentence hit me harder than any insult. Because it meant he'd noticed my pattern. And then in the middle of the reception hall. Music starting, people laughing. Ryan did something I didn't expect at all. He stood up. I blinked. "Where are you going?" Ryan looked down at me, calm, exhausted. "Home." My stomach dropped. "Don't be embarrassing." Ryan's expression didn't change. "Embarrassing is staying while you act like this." I grabbed his wrist. "Ryan, stop." Ryan gently removed my hand like he was detaching from something toxic. "I'm not going to watch you audition for a role in your ex's life," he said. "And I'm not going to be your emotional support date while you do it." My throat tightened. "You can't leave me here." Ryan nodded once. "I can. And I am." Then he leaned slightly closer and said, quietly, so only I could hear, "You want it to be unforgettable. Congratulations." And he walked away. Not storming. Not yelling. Just leaving. Clean, calm final. I sat there frozen, watching his back disappear into the crowd. And the worst part? No one stopped him. No one cared. Because the spotlight wasn't on him. It was on me. I tried to recover. I did the thing people do when they're panicking in public. I smiled like everything was fine. I walked to the bar and ordered champagne I didn't even want. My phone buzzed. A single text from Ryan. "Don't contact me tonight. I'll pick up my things tomorrow." My chest tightened. I typed a long message. Then deleted it. Then typed again. Green bubble. Not delivered. He blocked me. I stood there in a red dress, holding a champagne flute, suddenly feeling like a clown who didn't know the circus ended. Then someone tapped my shoulder. It was Harper. She was glowing. Calm. Happy. Bright energy in the most irritating way. She smiled politely. Hey. Are you okay? I forced a laugh. Yeah. Just my boyfriend had to leave. Harper nodded like she already knew. Then she glanced at my empty finger. Because I'd taken off my own promise ring earlier, so my hand looked clean in photos. Another detail I'm ashamed of. Harper's smile stayed gentle, and somehow that gentleness felt crueler than hostility. Look, she said softly. I don't hate you. I don't even know you. But Dylan's my husband now. The word husband hit me like a punch. She continued, still calm. If you came here to prove something, it didn't land the way you wanted. I felt tears burn. Harper's gaze flicked toward the dance floor where Dylan was laughing with his friends. He didn't look at you once during the ceremony, she added quietly. But your boyfriend looked at you the whole time. That sentence shattered me because it was true. Harper smiled one last time. Try to go home with your dignity. Don't make me ask security to help. Then she walked away. And I realized I couldn't even be the villain in this story. I was just embarrassing. I ended up leaving alone. In heels. The skirt dragging slightly on the gravel as I crossed the parking lot. I could hear music from inside. Laughter. A life continuing without me. I sat in my car and cried until my chest hurt. Not because Dylan chose Harper. Because Ryan chose himself. Because Ryan saw the truth and refused to stay in it. And that's the part where the guy wins. In the most humiliating way. He didn't fight Dylan. He didn't try to prove anything. He simply removed himself from my obsession and let me sit in the consequences alone. The next day, Ryan's brother came to pick up Ryan's things from my place. Yes, my place, because Ryan had helped me move, had spent weekends there, had become part of my space. Ryan didn't come. His brother handed me an envelope. Inside was a note from Ryan. Short, calm, devastating. I'm not competing with a ghost. I deserve a partner who chooses me without needing an audience. Please don't contact me again. No insults. No long closure speech. Just a man exiting a dynamic that made him feel like a prop. And me? I learned something I should have learned years ago. If you still need your ex's wedding to validate you, you're not over your ex. You're over your loneliness. And the minute a stable man realizes he's dating your insecurity instead of your love, he stops trying to fix you. He leaves you where you performed. Alone in heels while everyone else laughs at the show. My remarks. Hey guys, thanks for watching. She didn't go for closure. She went to perform. The red ball gown was a statement, and she used her boyfriend as a prop. He won by refusing to participate, blocking her, and choosing self-respect over being her audience. If someone needs a crowd to feel valued, they're not ready for a real relationship. Subscribe. More tomorrow.